What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and today's video is a Cult of the Lamb base building guide. This is something I wanted to make, and then also people wanted to see, so it kind of works out that way. That's always nice. And so in this video, I'm gonna give some tips on base management, because at this point I've cleared the game, and I feel I have a pretty good handle on it, you know. And you don't have to follow my tips exactly. You're free to do what you want. It is your game. It's a single player game. You do what the heck you want with it. But if you want some tips on how to manage stuff, that's what this video is for, especially because some things like resources can be an issue sometimes, and I ran into resources personally as an issue myself. So don't make my mistakes. And we're gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna jump between two different files as well. So in terms of priorities, this is my base here. So in terms of priorities to focus on with the game, one of the first things you want to do is actually what to not focus on. And the first thing is you don't want to grow your base too quickly. And the reason is if it grows too quickly, you're going to struggle with food, you're going to struggle with houses and all that. So you want to kind of grow at a steady pace. The places outside that you can go to, the levels, they all have like a follower requirement to open the doors. So for instance, you need, I think, one just for the first one, and then something like 7 for the second, then like 12 for the third, and 18 for the fourth, something like that, somewhere around there. So you want to kind of stay in those parameters. You don't usually want to go too far past, especially if you have a lower, tech tree with your shrine. So you don't want to go past that. And as far as what to focus on first as priorities, I would say houses and renewable resources. So the sleeping bags, probably a given. The shelters, the healing bay doesn't matter too much. And then the grand shelter is actually really good because this never collapses. So over time, this saves you quite a bit in terms of resources. So I would focus on those. And you want to get out of sleeping bags as fast as possible. These break pretty often. And then the other thing you want is farm plots. And then finally, the lumber and the stone mine. These two specifically are what I took too long to build, and I ran into big issues with resource generation. And once you get these, actually everything goes pretty smoothly. You don't even need the upgraded ones. I mean, they help, but these two will get you through the entire game, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're worried about automation, because I know people complain about this, they say I feel like I'm doing too much. And honestly, when you start a new file, if you don't enjoy the base building aspects, you will be chopping down a lot of trees and rocks and farming yourself and stuff like that. So it'll be very common at the start. But honestly, you'll get to a point where everything is just automated. You know, once you get the janitor, you don't have to pick up poop and vomit. Once you get upgraded farms and stuff like that, your group will farm itself. You know, you have like 2-4 people or whatever it is on your farms, and they'll be just fine. You just keep filling up the seed boxes and the fertilizer. So we'll talk about specifically what you need here. And for this base, I got up to 20 and held 20 pretty easily. You know, I didn't really run into an issue after I kind of got it down. And so I base this around 10 followers, you know, kind of increments like that. So the first thing I would say is actually for the stone and the lumber, you want 2 of each of these, and you shouldn't need more than that. Just rebuild them when they fall. And like, that's it. You know, at all points in the game, 2 of each of these is good enough. As for bathrooms, I make 1 bathroom per 10 people. Even though I said I have 21 right now, I had a follower request that wanted 2 extra bathrooms, so I just built 2 more. But otherwise, 2 bathrooms, especially upgraded, are fine. 1 janitor shack, fine. 1 prison per 10 followers, probably what you want. I didn't need more than 2 prisons, but prisons really do help with the dissenters. You want to lock them up as soon as possible. So 1 prison per 10 followers is usually good enough, especially if you're on top of it. The offering statues, these are really good. These seem to fill up daily. And I would go so far as to say you might have as many as 1 per follower, because I don't know, I've never had a day where not all 8 are filled. And so for the farming is interesting. I don't know if this is the entirely most space efficient as a farm, but this does do the job. you know, it's efficient enough. And so you have your big farmhouse in the middle, and then you surround it with plots just because of the range, as you can see here. And then you want like a scarecrow and also a harvest totem. And so you can't quite get the harvest totem to overlap like this. You might want to build them sideways to kind of cover everything. But this gets most of it done. So I would recommend one big farming thing per 10 villagers. So kind of the 10 follower rule. So I made one initially, then when I got more, I made another one. This one isn't that filled out, but like I said, it does the job here. And so obviously each farm you want like a fertilizer and a seed silo. So I made one for each. The bodies to fertilizer, this is a great alternative to the body plots, the graves. So if you don't want to deal with graves, then get this, but this is a bit farther up the tree. And grass to fertilizer is really good, especially late game, because you have a lot of grass and nothing to spend it on if you're not doing decorations. But you don't have to build everyone close together, you know? So if you don't want to do this with your shelters, if you want to space them out, that's fine. It doesn't have to, you know, look amazing. No one's rating you on beauty standards, for instance, and you get gold after you're maxed out on devotion. So as far as all of this goes, as I was saying, one house and offering statue per follower, one bathroom per 10 followers, one janitor station did fine for up to 20, one farm per 10, one jail per 10. 2 of each of these forever will get it done, and that should be all you need for those. And then finally, I think something else to talk about too are the refineries. 3 should be plenty. I have not needed more than this. This is how you get your higher tier materials like your gold bars or turn nuggets into coins and your big wood planks and stuff. So this is how you get these done. And it doesn't take too much to, you know, convert these. It takes maybe a day, and so you have people to work on that, and that's fine. So with that in mind, I guess we can talk about talent trees. That's what I have next. All right, so for this here, for the shrine talent tree, like I said, you want the sleeping bag, shelters, bathrooms, farms, and then the mines. The rest of it is secondary, just anything else that makes your life easier from that point or that you like. But also focus on the central nodes. I don't know if you have to get these or not in order to progress it. I know you have to get the temple, but these are really good. So I would always recommend leveling up the central node. This goes for the temple as well. And then as far as other stuff goes, it's really what you want. So the tabernacle, I never really used it. There's some decorations and stuff. These are all fine. The missionary is actually cool. I like that. I didn't use it that much, but it was good. And if you want to get helpers, you can do the summoning circle. And as far as the farming goes, so regular farming, good. Regular scarecrow, very good. Fertilizer soil or silo, good. Compost, good. Farm station 2, good. Trap scarecrow, actually not good. This only seems to ever catch 1 bird, and it's like 1 meat. So this just doesn't feel worth it. And then the harvest totems are okay, but not necessary. They're helpful. And the devotion harvest totem, you get some really late game devotion upgrades, like your shelters can give you devotion, which is your shrine XP bar, so you can buy skills and stuff. And also the things like the harvest totem. So you don't really need all of that. By the time you're at that point, you know, by the time you were at the point to get this, where is it? The harvest totem for devotion, you're already at the top of the tree. You only have a couple more to go, you know, so you really don't need this at this point. So you can probably save a point here if you wanted to. And then we'll look at the temple, because that's important. You should also build decorations. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do a layout in your place, you know, just do whatever you're feeling like, whatever looks cool. You can always move your stuff later, by the way. Should probably talk about that. There is a way to move in the build menu. So if you open it, and I think it's square on PlayStation, but it's X on Xbox, you can edit buildings, and you can remove them by pressing X again, or you can move them around by, you know, picking them up. So you can always move stuff around if you don't like how it looks, which is a nice thing. So with that being said, we'll check out the... Actually, I gotta feed people. I guess this might go into base building too. The cauliflower, this is what I feel is the best dish to create. It's very easy to get a lot of it. You get it like midway through the game. It comes from level 3. And the bonuses are actually okay. And it also fills up your stomachs pretty well, so... There's really no reason not to make this unless you need something specific from the other things, but otherwise I would just say at the start make a bunch of berries, and then once you get cauliflower, just make that. You can make the fish and stuff as needed, but really I haven't ever felt a need for all these extra dishes. It's either they don't do enough for you, or they just come too late in the game to really impact it, or you just don't have a way of making a lot of it quickly, so it just doesn't feel worth doing. But cauliflower, good. You see here, the cauliflower makes them pop off with, you know, valuables and stuff too, which is nice. And I think, is it a low chance for disease, illness? Yeah, 5%. That's okay. So, I always tell them to go rest. Definitely don't want people working too hard, you know. All right. For the temple, first thing you should always do sermon daily if you need to. I don't have to at this point, but you definitely want to get sermon done. It's very important. Don't miss it if you can help it, and make sure you pick up your followers for the day before sermon so you don't miss out on the extra XP or whatever you want to call it. And then as far as the crown upgrade tree, just get what you want. If you use omnipresence, you lose 25% of your resources, but otherwise all of these are good depending on what you want to do. As far as fleeces go, I only have 3. They're all good. They're just not game breaking, you know. If you're really good, the golden fleece is the best. But they're all solid, they're all fun to use, at least the 3 that I have, and I imagine these 2 are as well. So just get what you want. The basic one is fine. Don't feel like you have to use one of these. And so as far as doctrines go, you don't have to copy what I did. I'm not telling you to, but you can look at what I picked and you can pause the videos and stuff like that if you want to. So this is what I picked for my stuff here. Just the you know, the branches. And the thing with the doctrines that you really want are the rituals. You know, the secondary effects are nice, you know, that you can use, but really you're trying to pay attention to the rituals. The rituals are very, very important. So the rituals I would recommend getting if you have to make a choice. And again, you don't have to follow what I'm saying exactly. These are the ones I have. But the ones I think are the most important are Sacrifice, Fighting Pit, Ascension, the Ritual of Fish, the Fishing Ritual, and then the Feasting. You get the Brainwash one for free after a quest chain, and this is probably one of the most broken rituals in the game because it locks your faith for 2 days, which means that if you die on crusades a bunch of times, you know, it doesn't impact you. So it's really good to hit this when you're about to make some progress and push through the game. But it's really good and it's cheap to make. You can grow the mushrooms in your farms, so you just have an infinite amount of this. But the reason I say the Sacrifice, the Fighting Pits, and the Ascension rituals are very good is because they help you get rid of problem followers quickly and you get bonuses for it. So with these specifically, you know, you want to use them on either followers that are very old and you don't have some of the doctrines that help you mitigate death as much, so this is a way to get rid of them, but also dissenters that you don't want to deal with, or just to downsize your cult if you can't keep up with what you need. So don't be afraid to sacrifice people. You are a cult leader after all. And some of them are pretty fun too, like Fighting Pit. You know, you get to watch 2 people duke it out, so if you have 2 or 3 really bad followers, you can just send them to fight, and then you know, execute the one that loses. It's really fun. And then if you have favorite followers that you do like, you can resurrect them. But I think they take a faith hit for this, so I don't use this one too much. I usually just use it for Twitch chatters. But otherwise, the rest of them don't matter too much. I barely press them. You don't really need them, so it's really just what you want. You don't even need the ones I suggested. I'm just telling you what helped me the most. So pay attention to what rituals you get, because that's really what helps you deal with like big situations. You know, like the bonfire, if your faith is low, you can hit that. If you have no food, like your farms aren't doing well and you get hit with a bunch of hunger, you can use the feasting ritual. the fishing bounty ritual actually really helps with the fishing quest, because instead of having to catch all of the hard to get fish, this will let you get all of the fish you need from like regular fish, which is really nice. So that's why I like these. It feeds people very easily, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so just kidding. I cannot check out the temple tree because you can only look at that when you're getting upgrades, I think. But as far as that goes, same as the shrine tree kind of, I prioritize the central nodes because you get the weapon upgrades, like the level of the weapons upgraded. You get like half of hearts, which are nice. And then I think the Bane weapons, the Merciless and the Godly weapons are the best. The Zealous and the Necromantic weapons aren't that good. The Bane one poisons on hit, the Merciless can crit, and the Godly weapons just do a ton of damage. Zealous, when you get Fervor, it becomes Devotion, which you're going to be swimming in Devotion, you know, if you plan it correctly, so you don't really need something like that. And the Necromantic ones that summon ghosts were kind of underwhelming when I used them. All the curse stuff is good though. I like the curse tree a lot. So if you use curses a lot, don't be afraid to upgrade that. But I would say central stuff, Bane weapons, Merciless weapons, Godly weapons, and then curses in whatever order you're trying to do. And I think for the last part of what we can cover here, I guess this is still base management. So you unlock some stuff in terms of places you can go. So I'm not gonna spoil everything. I'm not even gonna show most of them, but one of the first ones you get are knuckle bones. So you can come play knuckle bones. It's a fun way to pass time and get money. And then there's also Pilgrim's Passage. I think you get this very, very, very soon, like early into the run. So I'm not spoiling too much here. But this one, you can always pop in here and get some devotion from this guy. And it really isn't worth coming here just for that. But there's the fishing minigame. So fishing is pretty fun. It's pretty self-explanatory here. You know, you hold down A or X and then it sends it out. And then for this, it tells you to hold A. I actually just tap it. I find that's much easier to just tap the A button there. And the way it works is if you go too far with the thing here, like if you let the fish carry it out too far, which I'm gonna try and do here, then after a certain point it just breaks your line and then it's gone. If you are trying to catch, like, you know, big fish like this, the troublesome fish, what you want to do is hopefully catch them closer to the middle because they have less, you have less room for error, you know, or I guess you have more room for error, I should say, and it's easier to catch them. But it's always worth coming to fish just because, you know, if you fish out the whole lake, you're able to feed your village pretty reliably for, you know, a couple days, which is good. But otherwise, yeah, fishing not too hard. You want to keep the hook in the bar, obviously, if you ever played something like Stardew Valley. And then after that, it's don't hold it. I press it, you know, I just tap it. Try to make sure it's there. And then for every second that the hook is in the space, you know, the green space here, it pulls them in. So you want to do your best to keep them in that. I almost lost this one. Still losing it. There we go. So yeah, really easy stuff. Might take some practice, but honestly, you'll get to a point where fishing is just like, you know, relaxing, fun, and kind of second nature. So you get a lot of good stuff here. This fishing quest, if you have the fishing ritual, like I said, whenever you pull up any fish, you have a chance of getting the ones that dude is looking for. So it's really easy to finish the quest there. And I guess that is it for now. So that's it for our base building guide. I hope it was informative. It's chill, right? You just got to make sure you have the right ratios for stuff. So usually basing it off of about 10 units that you have is a good way to build around it. Offering statues are very good, obviously. I'm going to say that one again. But otherwise, feel free to take a look, pause the video as I walk around the village, and just let me know what's working for you, you know? I really think the only difficult thing in terms of how to structure things, like how to put them together, is the farms. Like, this will get the job done, but I don't think it's the most efficient. So that's it. Make sure your workers are always doing stuff that you need them to do, because as you sacrifice them and they cycle through, you'll lose people doing certain jobs. Like, you'll have you might kill your janitor one day, or they'll die of old age. So you have to make sure that you replace the janitor to pick up the poop and vomit. And I don't think you can automate cooking yet, so you have to do that yourself, but it only takes a few seconds. And then I think that's it. I used the confession boot too. This never really did anything for me. And the healing bay is cool, but just doesn't, I don't know. Having a place to send them to rest has been fine enough. So that is it for the building guide. If you have any other questions, let me know. If you have any other ideas for guides and stuff you want to see, let me know. I'm going to do a little thing on how good the weapons and curses are. Probably this week. I keep tapping my desk. I apologize about that. But yeah. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate the support. Got a lot of new cool people from Cults of the Lamb. I'm really happy to see all of you. And we're going to do, you know, plenty more content on this. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.